Hey everyone! Today we're diving into the world of herbal and Ayurvedic products. And we're going to ask a really important question. How do you truly know what's inside that bottle you're holding? I mean, think about it. Every time you buy an herbal supplement, you're placing your trust in this long, totally invisible supply chain. But what if we could flip a switch and light up every single step of that journey?
Okay, so let's get right to it. What's the core problem? Well, right now, the supply chain for these herbs is pretty much a black box. There's almost no transparency, no real standardization. And that means it's incredibly hard for anybody, from the companies to you, the consumer, to verify where these ingredients came from or what their quality actually is.
And that lack of transparency, it opens the door for some huge problems. We're not talking about small mistakes here. This could mean adulteration, where cheaper ingredients get mixed in. It could mean counterfeit products, mislabeled origins, you name it. This doesn't just mean your supplement might not be effective, it completely erodes trust in the entire industry. So, how do you fix a problem of trust? Well, what if you built a system where you don't need blind trust because you have verifiable proof? The solution is a really powerful concept: a digital passport for every single herb. And this is where a system called Ayurchain comes into the picture. It uses blockchain technology to create a record that's unchangeable and totally transparent. So think of it less like a simple entry in a database and more like the complete, verifiable story of an herb's life, from the second it's picked all the way to the final product. Okay, so how does this digital passport actually get stamped? What does this journey look like in the real world? Let's follow a single batch of herbs step by step from the field to the factory and see how it all works. This whole journey has 5 key stages, and together they create this unbroken chain of custody that starts with the farmer and ends right in your hands. So let's break down how each step adds a new, verifiable layer to that herb's story. It all starts right at the source, out in the field with the farmer. This is the exact moment that the herb's digital identity is born. So using a simple mobile app, the farmer records all this crucial data right there on the spot. We're talking their unique ID, the exact GPS coordinates of the harvest, a timestamp, and even a photo of the herbs. And all of that info, it's immediately locked onto the blockchain, creating that first permanent entry in its digital passport. No going back and changing it. All right, next up, the freshly collected herbs are packed up and sent to a warehouse. This is a really critical handoff point where we have to make sure the integrity of that batch is maintained. When that shipment arrives, the manager scans its unique QR code and, this is key, verifies that the tamper evidence seal is still intact. That verification, or a warning if the seal is broken, gets logged on the blockchain. So what does that mean? It means any tampering between the farm and the warehouse is immediately and permanently recorded for everyone to see. Now we get to one of the most important checks in the entire process: independent lab testing. This is where the herb's purity and its identity are scientifically verified. And this is where things get really cool, because automation kicks in. The lab uploads its analysis, testing for things like heavy metals or pesticides, and those results automatically trigger something called a smart contract. This contract then marks the batch as either approved or rejected. It's not a person's decision, it's a rule. And only the batches that are approved are even allowed to move to the next stage. So with that lab approval locked onto the blockchain, the batch finally moves to the factory to be turned into the product that you eventually see on the shelf. Here, the system meticulously links that specific batch of raw herbs to the final product batch it's being used in. This creates a totally unbroken chain of custody. And when that final product is packaged, a master QR code is generated that basically contains the entire history of every single ingredient inside. And finally, the journey ends exactly where it should, with you. All of that tracking, all that verification, all that data logging, it all comes down to one single, simple action. You just scan the QR code on the bottle with your phone, and instantly you can see that herb's entire verified life story. So, we've followed the journey from farm to bottle. But what's the engine running under the hood here? What exactly makes this system so secure and trustworthy compared to the old way of doing things? I mean, the difference is just night and day. The traditional supply chain, it relies on paper trails and blind trust, which, let's be honest, is often opaque and super easy to fake. Ayurchain, on the other hand, is transparent by its very design, built on a foundation of data that simply cannot be altered or faked. So how does the tech actually work? Well, the foundation is something called Hyperledger Fabric. It's a type of blockchain built specifically for supply chains, where you need privacy and control. On top of that, you've got those smart contracts we mentioned, which act as automated rule keepers. Then, digital wallets for each person in the chain ensure everyone is accountable. And those tamper-evident QR codes, they bridge the gap between the digital world and the physical herbs. Now, of course, you might be thinking, well, what about cheating the system? What if someone spoofs a GPS signal? And that's a great question, but the system is designed for the real world. For GPS spoofing, geotagged photos add another layer of verification. For poor internet out in rural areas, the app can actually work offline and then sync all the data later. These challenges have really been thought through. Okay, so let's zoom out. This isn't just about a fancy QR code on a bottle. What is the real-world impact of creating this level of transparency? Why does this matter for every single person involved in this chain? The benefits create this amazing ripple effect. For consumers, you get the trust and transparency you've always deserved. Farmers are empowered because now they can get better prices for their high-quality, authenticated herbs. And manufacturers? They benefit from way easier quality control and regulatory compliance. It's truly a win-win-win for everyone. So, the crucial point here is this. We're shifting away from a world of vague, opaque claims where you just have to believe what a label tells you, to a brand new world where you have a verifiable, unchangeable digital record of truth right there in the palm of your hand. This kind of technology fundamentally changes how we think about authenticity and trust. And it leads to a pretty fascinating final thought. If we can give an herb a digital passport, what other industries, from the coffee you drink to the clothes you wear to the seafood you eat, are ready for this kind of radical transparency? What comes next?